would say, Ryan and I, we say hello to everyone who took the time and takes time to join us today for, I think, an interesting evening for PowerShell with Christian Ritter. So thanks for being with us, Christian. And so he is going to talk about PowerShell Performance Tweaks, Microsoft Graph Edition. So I think that's going to be interesting, of course. Quickly about our user group. So Ryan and I, we started this a while ago, went all virtual this year, last year already, basically. So feel free to follow us and also free to follow our user group. Later on, I will paste the links into the chat, so you can find us on LinkedIn and Twitter. And the recordings are also available on YouTube. And coincidentally, the company I'm working for, ScriptRunner, is sponsoring the user group with the meetup costs and things like that. And one of the things that we do is to help people with PowerShell, with a couple of PowerShell goodies like a cheat sheet for Exchange or a PowerShell security ebook. So feel free to go there and grab the PDFs, or you can also get the PowerShell poster for your office wall. All right, so that's the plan for today. Saying hello to everyone. We're in the middle of that. Then we have Christian with his talk and presentation. And then, yeah, depending on how long Christian take, I mean, we are flexible. So, and of course, it depends on also your questions that you might have for Christian. And then we are going to make a little looking back on PSConf. So again, for everyone who has been to PSConf in Antwerp, feel free to open up the mic, enable the camera, and let's talk about the event and the experience that we all had back in Antwerp in a couple of weeks ago. So that's all from my side. Anything you want to add, Ryan?
I can pretty much just say what he said. Yeah, thanks again to everybody for taking the time to join us. At any point, if you have questions and you don't feel like speaking up, you can always use the chat. Also, if you want to write in the chat any questions, English or German is fine. I think a lot of us here speak both. So if you don't feel comfortable typing in English, that's not a problem. You can type your question in German and we'll understand you fine. Yeah, and as Heiko said, we've been doing these virtual since we brought it back to life after the pandemic. But we do hope to, at some point, give a chance for the people to actually meet in presence and hang out together, even if it's a fun event at first. But by doing this virtual, it's also given us the opportunity to have some really awesome speakers without expecting them to travel to the region just for a night. So one of these awesome speakers is Christian, and I've already seen his talent there at the PowerShell conference recently. So yeah, I think we're about ready to hand it on over to him.
Yeah, the stage is yours, Christian.
Thank you. Then I will start by sharing my screen and introducing myself a little bit more. As you may have noticed, I'm also not a native speaker, so if you just have to ask something, you can also do it in English. I try to okay, now I should be back. Perfect. Why I was on hold? Just give me a second.
Okay, we're back.
Yep.
You can hear me as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks
okay.
Looks and sounds great.
Curious because it says the call is on hold, but I don't care. So yeah, I'd like to introduce myself a little bit more. As I'm not a native English speaker, I really try my best that everyone of you is able to understand me. Today I want to talk a little bit about performance and technique tweaks in Microsoft Graph and some proof of concepts like methods. So you can hopefully all benefit from this. I would like to start with retrieving some object in the Microsoft Graph field. But first, like I said, my name is Christian Ritter. I'm working for CanCom in Germany as a senior system engineer, and I started using PowerShell back in 2011 as a trainee, and from there on, yeah, I dig deeper into the whole field of PowerShell, and at some certain point I came up with a task to retrieve some information from the graph endpoint, as there were no PowerShell module, so I had to do every call just basic via invoke ref method. Now, luckily, we have this module, and I'm even more blessed that we now have also the new Antwerp module. And even if it's still in preview, it feels more PowerShelly. So, for example, as you can see here, right now on my screen, if I want to receive the top 100 users in my tenant, I could make use of get intra user command, and I would be able to pipe it to remove intra user, which is more or less amazing because with the other module, the Microsoft Graph module with all of the sub-modules, you didn't have the chance to pipe everything, so you had to store it in some variables and iterate through and so on. So there are many new possibilities, but there's also some kind of a bummer as we don't have pagination. If you want to retrieve something from the endpoint, for example, you can ask the endpoint, for example, users, give me all of my users with the all parameter. But the default parameter set is set to 100, which means it receives 100 elements and then go to the next site, the next page, retrieve another 100, and so on till it reaches the end. And this causes a lot of network communication to the endpoint, and it could be possible that you came up with some kind of throttling to prevent this. There are a lot of mechanisms in the backend, but it's kind of slow. So for example, when I want to retrieve the top 100 users right here, we can see, okay, this takes a decent amount of time, and we just got 100 users out of my test tenant, for example. So randomly, more or less, as you can see, some are made up and some are the basic users that was already filled my test tenant. That should be Megan Bone, maybe known to all of you. I can do the same thing with the mg user command right here. And it was a lot faster, even if we stuck to the pagination from 100 elements of my tenant for the user endpoint, for example, via graph. It was kind of faster, and things go downhill if I switch from top 100 to all, and I have no pagination feature inside of the get intra user command. So I will interrupt this, but just to give you a slight idea, this takes some time. But why is it important that we make use of the new get intra user module or the Microsoft Graph modules? Because the Azure AD module is deprecated. It still works right now, and I think I saw an article about it that it will end finally about next year. Someone can correct me in the chat if you like, or just interrupt me by unmuting. But the thing is, we have to switch. Yeah. Okay. So therefore, we have to switch to another way to retrieve elements. And so in this case right now, I'm still stuck to the Microsoft Graph module, especially just if I do this for users, I could switch to Entra user, like I said many times before right now. So, but the thing is, even with get mg user all, this still takes some time. And as the session is proposed to be some performance tweaks, that's exactly the point why I show you this. I want to show you how you could tweak this a little bit more. So even here, it's slower. It's slow, but it's still faster than get intra user command, for example. The thing about pagination, like I said, the default page size is about 100 elements for each site, but you can increase that number to a specific maximum number of 999. And you could also make use of the select parameter, which just shows me or tells me which exact properties out of the feedback I want to retrieve, because without specification, I would retrieve all properties of my objects in the Android tenant, which also could cause some delay. If I just look for 2 or 3 properties in my script, I can specify, okay, via the select parameter, I can specify, okay, what would be the properties that I need, and then I can just ask explicitly for that, which also increases the time to execute. So, and just to see, okay, what's the basic pagination size? Like I said, it's 100. Why should you believe me? I could show you instead. So I didn't say, okay, top 100 or top something. I just said, okay, give me just just ask the endpoint via the invoke mggraph request command. There I have to specify the method, for example, get the URI. In this case, okay, it's the users. And I just selected, okay, give me please the ID and the display name, just for this case. And now we can say, okay, the basic result count is 100. So what else method we have? I said, okay, we can specify the page size, and we can also make use of the select parameter. Therefore, I did some kind of measurement. So for example, get mg user all, like we saw already. Then I can say, okay, the page size should be up to 999. I can say, okay, please just give me the ID and the display name. And then we can combine it. And I prepared a little function to do this by hand and not using the Microsoft Graph module, just only the invoke mggraph request command. So therefore we could execute this. This should be around 20 seconds. My tenant has about 10,000 users right now. So, and just to talk a little bit further, I could show you my function in the meantime. So with my get msgraph all objects function, I just say, okay, what is the endpoint? For example, users or devices. I can say, okay, what is the validate range for the chunk size or the pagination size in a range from 1 to 999. In this case, I say, okay, go for the default, about 999. And I could say, okay, I just want to ask the beta endpoint or just the regular GA version 1.0. Then I have to specify the URI and just fill in all of those informations. Just, okay, I should have, I just have load in the memory my function. That would be probably a better idea, but I prepared something already. Let's go to the code straight through. Then I just say, okay, give me some kind of collection. In this case, a PS custom object from the generic list. Then I just do the invoke mggraph rest command once. And then I iterate through. And then I just look out for the OData next link. If it's the case, then process with the next link for next page with the amount of elements that I have specified in the command call itself. And then just iterate through, add it to the collection, and just return the collection. So as I said, okay, this is my custom function, for instance. And then I got this kind of result. So the default, like we saw already here, is just get mg user all, was about 29-ish seconds with just a select. So I just say, okay, give me the ID and the display name. It was about 1.5 seconds faster. When I increase the page size limit to 999, I got it down to 6.8 seconds. And also with the select and the page size, it was about 6 seconds. And in the custom function that I showed you, this here, I got it down to 4 seconds in total. So retrieving 1,000 objects, it's a nice little number that we can see here, just with some kind of customizations. Or if you just stick to the basic mggraph command, we also can shrink it quite well down. Which also, I'm not sure about it, why the pagination size is strictly set to 100, to be honest. Because when I think of throttling from the endpoint, when I do many calls against the endpoint, there's a lot more of traffic which could lead to throttling from the endpoint. Increasing it by default could be some kind of benefit for me, but yeah. I've also heard that in all there should be some kind of pagination size increasement, because there was a discussion about renaming about the Microsoft Entra module where I just raised an issue because, like I said, it's missing there. But in this case, my demonstration shows, okay, there is no customization, but maybe it is in pre-release or something like that. I have no idea, but yeah, just to show you this. If I just wanted to know how many objects in total my tenant has, I don't have to retrieve all of the elements just to count. There is some kind of neat little trick. If you switch in the URI to $count, and please make sure that you don't use regular quotation marks, just use the simple ones, so this is not a variable anymore. And I have to specify the consistency level to eventual. Then I just can ask for, okay, what is the amount of all elements? Unfortunately, at least in my current installed version, when I do this with invoke mggraph requests, I just have to specify as well an output file to retrieve this number, which I don't need if I just say, okay, I go here with the count variable and using the consistency level there. For example, we can execute this for once and it's processed. I don't know why the bug happens that the write request progress activity is still showing up, but looking at this file right now, you can see, okay, my tenant is about 10,000 users. Like I said, I can do the same thing with the getMgUser and the count variable to just retrieve the same information. I don't know why I can't see it right. That's because I said out null. I'm sorry for that. Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't know why I had this. I had to ask for the count var, which is basically the same. But as we saw, asking for all of the elements, the custom function was a bit faster than all of the other methods. When we now have a look at we can do the same measurement for the custom call and the getMgUser call and do this in the measurement. For now, and still the right bug. I don't know why this happens. Measure table total count. You can see also this was quite a bit faster than the custom call itself. Maybe there is room for improvements, but right now, yeah, it is what it is, as I like to say. So in this case, I would go with the getMgUser just to look for an endpoint if there's some kind of changes and I have to run on changes. I could make use of that. So that was just for the retrieving object part. I would like to move to the next part at my presentation. But beforehand, I just wanted to know if you have any kind of questions right now. You want me to explain something further, just please shout or write it in the
Christian?
chat, please. Yeah.
Can you measure command in a chat?
Can you measure command in the chat?
Yeah. In the chat, there is a new command for count. Get mg user count
Mm-hmm.
to see if that's faster.
Yeah, I can do this as well, for sure. I didn't know, I wasn't aware of that, so just give me a second. Let us call this get mg user count and do the same thing here. Thank you, Alexander. So I can basically do this once in my terminal for now. Okay, this is also retrieving, and now we can have a look which is the fastest one more time. And still the output bug. And if we now have a look at the variable, which should be this. No, it's not faster.
Thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. But thank you for mentioning this info. So when I've done my session, I also will upload this, so it's written in the books right now. Thank you. Another additional question right now.
I don't think so.
Okay, perfectly. So as I've said, okay, we should make use of the use properties. But to be honest, when I write down my script, I make use of some kind of properties and forget about that. But I could improve my execution time if I would run through my code and see which property actually I've used. Therefore, I've created a little script which makes use of the AST, the abstract syntax tree. Is everyone aware of that, or should I explain it a little bit? Just waving hands, write in the chat, do whatever you like. So raising the hand is saying me that you don't know about the AST. Okay, at least one hand. Perfectly. Interest. Okay. So the AST allows me to inspect a script block, for example, to ask the whole script block things about my about the script block itself. For example, which variables are used, which comments are used, because we will make use of that a little bit further in a second. So yeah, that's a basic thing about the AST. I can inspect my whole script block. So the the script analyzer, for example, in VS Code makes heavy use of the AST just to say, okay, this variable is never assigned and so on. So it's pretty neat to use the AST. In this case, I said, okay, what's about just run to my script and list all the properties that are in duty of any kind of command. For example, like here in this example script block, I say, okay, get mg user with some specific ID. And I make use of the ID property and the mail property, for example. The foo and the bar are not related to any kind of this user variable. But for now, just reading through, I can say, okay, when I say get mg user, I could improve this by saying select ID and mail, for example. The same thing goes for the device ID, where I already said, okay, select display name, but I also make use of the ID property, for example, which could lead to problems if I just stick with the select for the display name. So there's a logical issue you can see right here. And same thing goes for ID for the application side and also the display name, and also random could also lead to problems. And when we now have a look also in the script block, there's some kind of get child item command, which is which isn't related to any kind of craft commands. So the main goal for me was just to iterate through my code via the AST, just to see which command is used, which command is related to any kind of the Microsoft.craft modules, and which property is used. So when I run through my code and knew all of this, then I can make suggestions how to improve my code. Basically, this was the idea behind this function, get mscraft property parameter improvements. If you have any kind of better name, please let me know. But yeah, that was basically the idea behind this function. And we could have a look at the function before I execute this. So basically, I just asked in the parameter section for the script block. This is just kind of a proof of concept that this is working. But there's a lot of room for improvement. So all of the scripts are published to my GitHub, if you like, and have something addition, raise a PR issue or something like that is really appreciated by me. Then I have to create some kind of AST object. This we can achieve with make use of the system management automation language parser, and then we just pass in our script block and just a reference to references null, because we just focus here on the script block itself. And then I just can say, okay, please give me all the use properties, just by saying ast.findAll methods, where the first argument is some kind of member expression AST. And afterwards, I iterate one more time to the AST. We could combine this into one single call, but I just said, okay, do it in 2 steps. Then I said, okay, inside of the AST, find all once more, just the argument, first argument, and then I say, okay, please give me the assignment statement AST. So there, I just have to split for the text itself, so I can see, okay, what is the command name itself via get command. And then I have to make sure that the source is Microsoft.craft. If it's not, then please throw. Otherwise, proceed with true. And after doing this, I just iterate through all of my items and make up a new PS custom object. I can say, okay, what was the command? What was the variable name? Here you can see, okay, I just have to look left of the command for the variable path, the user path. As you can see, iterating through the AST can be very granular. And also the use properties, where it's matching the variable name, the property parameter. I just have to query the AST one more time via the findAll method. And just see, okay, that's from the comment AST. And then I just can split through all of the white spaces and take the first one. Iterating, it's kind of complex, to be honest. Took me a lot of time to make this work, because working with the AST is very powerful, but also some kind of can lead to complexity quite fast. So yeah. Then I said, okay, what are the parameters that were used, just to compare them with the parameters that the properties that I found in the script block itself for the variable used by checking for the dot usage, for example, or in this case. And I have the parameter name and also the argument. And then I can say, okay, I just can compare them if they are null or empty. And if that's the case, I just compare them with the reference object for the property parameter and the difference object for the use properties. And so I can decide if there's room for improvement or not. And if it's room for improvement, please tell me what I could do better. And also making use, to even complicate this a little bit more, I make heavily use of regex. And to be honest, I'm not a regex god, so I just have to ask some kind of AI technology just to improve this. So, and basically that's all. If we now put this into memory and just say, okay, make some room here. And just go by my simple script block, okay, get mg user, get mg device, get mg application, and also the files for get child item, and just passing this to my function. And hopefully, if I don't have anything messed up, we should see a little list. Yay, which does. So it says me basically, okay, this was my command. Get mg user user ID, the variable name where it was assigned to, my use properties inside of my script block, if there's any kind of property parameter, and it has improvements, like I said. An improvement would be switch to get mg user user ID and also select ID and mail. Same thing goes for mg device. With even if there was already a display name select statement there, we fix our issue. And also for the get mg application, and as you see, nothing tells me that there's some kind of wait a second, there's some kind of I should minimize this. There's no saying that the get child item command is anything in there. So yeah, that's basically a little proof of concept that this could improve our creation of scripts in terms of performance. Any thoughts about it? Any questions? Hopefully not too deep into the AST, because as I said, it's quite complex. And also, wait a second, maybe I've missed this. I guess I see there is some kind of get mg device management summary. I didn't see any of this. I don't know why it's not in here, but I'm really sorry. No. Give me a second, because there's something missing right now. Maybe I shouldn't have said this. Okay, this is basically the thing about it. It says me, okay, this command is not here anymore. What I wanted to say is that it still keeps the filter. So let me do the filter imaginary here and do it one more time. And it still keeps the filter in the improvement itself. Oh, there's also a typo. Okay. Yeah. Any questions or thoughts about it?
No question, but that looks really cool. I've never used AST before. Awesome.
Hey, perfect. Yeah. Hopefully someone took something from it. There's a question in the chat. In the AST function, but curious why you pipe the output of find AST method to where object rather than keeping it in the delegate. Let me get through this. There we go. Where's the where object? You're talking about line 67, Edgar?
Yes.
Okay. The thing is why I didn't use it as a delegate. To be honest, find all assignment statement AST. Because why I did this, I just want to see, okay, if the because I had to filter out if the command is dedicated to Microsoft.graph in the source, to be honest. I just said, okay, here you can see get command just to see, okay, where's the command located, so that we only make use of the commands inside the script block that are really dedicated to the Microsoft Graph modules. So therefore, I just had to make some kind of filterment and just say, okay, because the feedback itself in the where object should be true or false. And if it's true, then we just can still proceed and just make sure that we only inspect all those commands that are related to Microsoft Graph.
Okay, I was just curious because I know you
Yeah,
could
sure.
use, since you have it in there, that you have it a specific AST object, but you could also do like a hyphen and then this whole expression and do exactly what you just did, except without the where object in the delegate.
Okay. Thank you. So, any questions more, or I can go straight through? Okay, looks like. Then for improving execution time, we could also make use of batching. Is anyone not familiar with the batching itself inside of Microsoft Graph? Just hand waves, shouting, send me something on WhatsApp, whatever you like.
Yeah, maybe a short introduction would be cool.
Okay, basically with batching, you have the capabilities. I have also prepared the Microsoft Learn link. Because we all know Microsoft Learn is a fantastic resource for learning things. Okay, you can see my totally unorganized Microsoft Explorer right now. With batching, you have the possibilities to send to the endpoint about up to 20 requests in one batch, which means you can ask the endpoint, okay, for 20 calls, okay, give me some kind of information about device or user or groups or something like that. You can give me about up to 20 questions inside of a JSON format about my tenant, and just receive one feedback to all of the endpoints. So I could sum up or parallelize the calls against the tenant. So the format looks like something like, okay, I have some kind of request list, and then I have to specify an ID just to iterate through and call on that. Thank you, Ryan. Then I have just to specify what's the method for this, what's the URL, for example. If it's another method, then get, for example, here in this case, patch. And I have for the URL me, I can switch the city to Redmond in the body itself. And then I have some kind of headers, which content type this basically is. So we can make sure, okay, we have some kind of ID, the URL, a method, a body, and headers. So basically, that's the layout for the JSON format for the batch. Yeah, like I said, we can see here, and if response would look something like this. So for ID 1, we get the location here. Then we also could get some information that something is forbidden, that we are not allowed to get the feedback from the endpoint, and also other things. So the feedback could look like something like this, which will also increase the execution time and also reduce the chance to get into throttling if we do many calls. I think also the PNP PowerShell module makes heavy use of batching in the background. So yeah, it's probably a good idea to do this. Not all commands or not all calls are allowed to do in batching. I would love to show you some kind of list which is not allowed, to be honest. But for list of current limitations to batching, there's a little link here. But as you can see, maybe when I click here, the page is missing. That's something I want to report to Microsoft as Alexander said, okay, there is, okay, the ID also could be some meaningful name. That's good to know. It also could be a number. Why it also could be a good idea to use a number, I will show you in a second. But as I said, maybe here's something from Microsoft also watching this link is broken. I will also report this to them. But why it could be good to use numbers, or it's easier to use numbers, is you can specify a dependency. So you can say, okay, this call is dependent on another one. For example, if you patch something and want to receive it afterwards, for example, then you can say, okay, the ID number, like here, depends on, is the word I was looking for. ID2 depends on ID4. You can also make use of meaningful names, but stepping through for my personal usage, it's a little bit easier to use numbers to just see, okay, in which step I want to proceed through. But yeah, Alexander, you're right. Names mostly are more meaningful than basic numbers. Okay.
No, the thing is that if you use something else but not numbers, then it will be easier for you to make a connection between the responses and initial request. With numbers, you will have a problem because the responses are not coming in the same order that you specified in a request.
Also a valid and good point. Thank you for mentioning this. Yeah, as Alexander said, you can also make use of names, and it could be better. So, but as I said, I just want to say, okay, there's also a dependency property that you can make use of. So, as I said this, as we talk in PowerShell today, I just want to show you. I've written a JSON transformation class made from argument transformation attribute. Any one of you ever did a transformation class in PowerShell? Okay, they're kind of nice because I've specified a transformation class here and just can make use of it as a type, for example, instead of my param section. So if I now pass in something, I just can transform it. In this case, what's basically the idea behind this function, convert to MS-Graph batch requests, as the name suggests, is I just want to pass in some kind of object. It could be custom objects, or this could be hash tables, just with information for creating a batch request. And I just want to transform it automatically into JSON objects. So I don't have to pass JSON objects. I just can pass any kind of PowerShell object and let PowerShell do the rest for me. So if we now have a little look into it, I have to specify an object for a transform object. Basically, and there I've specified a schema which orients itself on the specifications that we already saw with the layout right here. So I said, okay, this schema is from JSON-schema.org, JSON-schema.org. The type is an object. Then I can define the properties. At first, we have to request. Then I have to specify another type that's also array. Then inside of my array, the items itself. Also again, an object, type object again. And there we have some kind of properties, like the ID. And it's type string, because as Alexander mentioned, you also could give it name, so you shouldn't use basic integers. Then we have the method, and there can also specify some kind of enums, which is to specify what is allowed, like get, put, patch, post, and delete. Those are the methods that we can make use of. And then also we have some kind of URL. Type is a string, and you have also pattern matching, just to make sure, okay, everything is quite nicely and set it up. Then we have again the headers and also the body. We could also go in, okay, what are how should the body or the headers look like and specified there as well. Then we can say, okay, what is required and what are the properties names that are allowed. So in this case, depends on is missing. But as I say, this is a proof of concept so that you basically get the idea behind this. The thing is, maybe you have a slight feeling. I also could achieve this via input sanitization, which means I could say, okay, just by a parameter, that's at the how it's called, the valid script. No, how it's called?
HTTP verbs.
Yeah. For example, or I could say, okay, here's some kind of pattern matching. Basically, I could have done this also with just basic parameter validation. But in this case, I said, okay, as we have to transform it into a JSON, why not define a schema and test it against this schema that I have written down here, that we will see in a second. Because as I've said, you're only allowed to specify 20 elements instead of one batch. I specified the batch size here and also a counter. And then I said, okay, please group my input data, which could be 1,000 hash tables or PS custom objects, and just iterate through 20 at a time and return the feedback and sum this up as a collection. So I iterate through each of my batches 20 times 20 pieces at a time. And then I just converted the hash table or the PS custom object to a JSON object with a depth of 6. Then I can make use of the test JSON command, which is only available in PowerShell 7.x, I think. So just as a side note, please use 7.x if possible. And then I can say, okay, what is the schema for this? And I also can convert this bulky hash table to a JSON object and just test if my return object is matching the schema. It tells me exactly if it's not. And then I can say, okay, I throw an exception that the JSON schema did not match. And so I will receive my batch request. With that said, I just want to show you how to do this. And like I said, inside of my function, I just say, okay, please transform this request and just return the request. So it does this basically in behind. So in the region, for example, the usage, I have a hash table that says, okay, the method is get, URL is users, devices, groups, and users as a PS custom object too. And let me run this really quick. And there we go. Now we have a valid JSON to send it as a batch request against the graph endpoint. So the thing is, now, yeah, we have this kind of transformation. And if I switch it to something not allowed, like getX, for example, and do this one more time, and it says me, okay, that's not valid, and it should be specified by one of the enums at the method in my JSON schema, which is basically correct. And I think if I do something in the URL, something bad in the URL 2, it should also complain about this. Or maybe I'm not, because the thing is, by doing some kind of argument transformation in the root, the first time something breaks, it it stopped the execution if I'm not completely wrong, but we can try for once if you like. Yeah, in this case, it just shouts at me at one issue, then I have to resolve it and see what are the other issues too. Yeah, basically that's the idea behind this. Any questions so far? Because in the next step, I want to do something with this. Does it support dependencies or is the plan? Right now, it doesn't support dependencies as this was just currently in a POC state, but I will extend this so this also is allowing dependencies. I want to make sure also which endpoints are allowed to get through batch requests, just to make sure that not all commands are can be passed to. The same thing goes for header and body specifications that are also missing, but that you basically get the idea behind this. Yeah. Thank you, Alexander. Any other questions so far?
I don't think so. But,
okay, perfect.
Great and useful transformation. So here, Alexander likes it a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, batching. But the thing is, I have to write this all on my own. I just have to write, okay, what this PS custom object, this hash table. But the thing is, I don't want to write this because I'm lazy. I like PowerShell. Please, PowerShell, do this for me. That's the thing why I thought of why not asking my script block, please transform this into this kind of objects for me for my whole script. So this is just another POC. So as you can see, there's just the command get mg user ID, blah, 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 which won't work because the user ID is not correct right here. But there's another neat command in the module itself called find mggraph command. And there I can pass in by the command parameter my current command. And if I do this, you will see something familiar, because there's also methods and URIs. And with that, I should be able just to iterate through my script block by the AST one more time, collect all of the graph commands like we already saw in the other example for the tweaked use properties. And then I can build my own hash tables or custom objects. So basically, like here, we have get mg user, we have device, application, also the files example one more time. And I just wrote a little function as POC. It's not checking if any command has a dependency or another command. It's just basically the POC idea behind it. But there's a lot of room for improvements. If you want to go with me this route, I would love to get in touch with you. So basically, I wrote a function, get mggraph native calls. I know plural names are bad, but in this case, yeah, I do. I just ask, okay, please give me the AST for this. Give me all the graph comments that I need as a generic list. And then once again, I iterate through my AST and find all of the assignment statement AST. Again, with the where object, just to find the Microsoft Graph commands inside of my script block. Then I add this to the graph command list. And I also make use of ID and iterate through and increase this because it's created automatically. In this case, no naming, just basic numbers increasing. And then I say, okay, find mggraph command, give me the command name. And then I just have my ID, my URL, which in this case is for find mggraph command URI instead of URL. And also there are two feedbacks in this case. If I just have users or the users with the ID, for example, and I've also, due to this, multiple methods. But as I said, right now it's just a basic idea. I also don't write down if in the command is any kind of select statement or something I have to transform into the real URI. Like I said, it's basically POC. And then I just can report the custom object and get hopefully all of the information inside of my script log. Let's try it out. And now I could send this over to my function for the batching and create a batch request. So, like I said, the idea behind this to see, okay, what are dependencies, which properties are used. So all that I showed so far, we could mix up together to do some kind of improvement. I could imagine some kind of proxy, for example. I have a script that's instead of directly executed, just pass the script log into the proxy command module function, whatever, and transform it to just improve the execution time. Do batching when necessary, make use of the use properties, increase the pagination, and so on. So that's basically the idea behind this, which I have in my mind, which you then could make use of in Azure Functions where you pay for execution time and so on. Yeah, basically that's the idea that I have in my mind for this. Questions about the transformation of the native calls?
Doesn't look like it, but this is really cool stuff. This is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, very awesome.
Thank you. Then the thing is, what bugs me the most is when I write a nice little graph script, I have to register an app registration. And I have to specify all of the permissions for this. What are you doing when you have to register the app registration? You have to look up in the learn section, for example, which command is or which endpoint is dedicated to which permission, and just make sure that you choose the right one. And I'm bored by this task, to be honest. Therefore, I've written a little script, but just to see how we could make our life easier is, like I said, get mg user top 1. I just get the conference room Adams in my test tenant, and I could make use of the find mggraph command one more time. And then there is, as you can see right now, there's a permissions property, which gives me all of the permissions that I could use to make use of the get mg user from my endpoint, which is basically nice. But as you can see, there are a lot of. There are a lot of. Just forget mg user. But how to decide which permission is the most fitting just for my purpose, because I just want to go with the least privileged principle. The thing is, also for the same way, so I just wrote a little PowerShell functions for that to help me to decide. It's not perfect, but it's helped me to aim for the least privileged attempt. And how I do this? For sure, I make use of the AST. I just pass in the whole script. And then I say, okay, please give me all of the comments. Then I say, okay, please give me the command name. Which is the common, what is the common source? Because the common source in this case is basically the PowerShell module, which is used. And as you maybe have seen, if I say get command, get mg user. No, why it's not execute that. There we go. And as the name suggests, this is in the module users. So for me, it's an indicator that making use of the user's permission could be probably a really good idea, to be honest. So, for example, why I need for just retrieving the user, why I need device management configuration read all. I don't need this. Maybe just having user read basic all or user read all could be a good idea. And I make use of the get verb. So the user read write all, it's not in the least privileged mindset, to be honest. So with that in mind, I say, okay, I have an indicator which permission could be most fitting when I just inspect the comment name and the module where the command lays itself. So therefore, I just collect at first all of the data, which is the source, what is the verb, what is the noun, what are all privileges, and what is the least privilege. So, and therefore, I just iterate through all of my commands if they are in the source Microsoft Graph. In this case, I do it a step after, not beforehand. I also could do it there, but yeah, I just put it there because I don't know why I did this, but I did this. So, and then I just retrieve all of the privileges for each command by just saying find mggraph command. And also the permissions. Then I thought, okay, I just need the unique, and I just want to have the name. Then I say, okay, just give me the name, if it's admin or not. And for the least privilege attempt, I said, okay, just split this up. And split it up, even if it's users or user, for example, because the command is get mg user and not users. So I try with avoiding the S or just add the S. And if the verb is get, then please ignore all permissions that have write in it, for instance. So with that said, so notice in memory, and here we have some kind of get mg user, new mg group, get mg application, and get graph script permissions. And now I got a list with the least privileged attempt compared to all privileges that I could make use of. It's not perfect, it's not just a single privilege, but it gives me a slight idea what I could aim for by just checking what my script is telling me about my script itself. And this was my idea behind it, just to have something that assists me by choosing the right permission. Yeah, and that's basically all I have for my get permissions so far. Any questions?
Another awesome example.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great stuff.
So when I now look at the time, that's basically everything I have for improvements or making your life easier. There's one thing I have as a bonus before we could finish everything up, because sometimes I just want to list all of my applications that are related to Microsoft Graph and just see, okay, which kind of permissions do they have. In this case, I just ask for all service principals that have the app ID for the Microsoft Graph, with the one with 3 and a lot of zeros and a C in it. There I ask for the app roles. And then I can say, okay, please get the MG application, iterate through, and just list all of the display names for the app registrations, the app ID, the ID itself, service principal ID, and then the scopes by asking the get MG service principal role assignment, and basically iterate also through this. And with that said, I see, okay, there's some, hey, there's also PSConfEU. I built a connector for it, and I use the scopes, external item, read, write, owned by, and external connection, read, write, owned by. And the thing with that in mind is, I had another talk for the Azure Enthusiast user groups that I think they changed their name this year, where I just checked, okay, which scopes are related to any kind of EWS, and just checked, okay, if there's some kind of EWS permissions. If this is the case, please check if there is RBAC for application or Azure application policies, I think they are called, which is just a little hint from me right now, because this is important. If you don't have set everything up and you have an application with the EWS scopes as permissions, they are able to query each EWS item resource. So you can limit the your app registration with that. It's just a little hint that it makes it's pretty neat that you can just check for this. I also have this in my GitHub profile, and as I've talked so much about my GitHub profile and me and everything, I also have something for you if you like. You can find me online, basically on Twitter, LinkedIn, GitHub, and other platforms. So you could head over to Linktree or just scan this QR code if you'd like to get in touch with me with any of those topics further. And with that said, thanks for your time. Thanks for the amazing questions. And yeah, thank you.
This was great. Thanks a lot, Christian. This was really great stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good stuff.
Really cool. Especially for me, I'm still trying to become friends with all this MS Graph stuff around PowerShell. So yeah, I think this is really helpful. Especially
I have to say, we've had some pretty big names on here in the last sessions, previous meetings, but this was by far my favorite that we've had in a long time, and a lot of stuff that I see that I could actually improve some of my workflows with, and therefore I really appreciate that you shared all this with us.
Thank you. Do you have some kind of GitHub where I can shift to those my session slides too?
Well, if you have it on your GitHub, we can add a link to the recording once it's on YouTube, so people can find you there with all the. So just send me all the links that you would like to have in the description of the recording. And,
yeah, perfect. Then I will shift it to my GitHub as a new repo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so, because probably you will work on that. So that will be your good. I think it would be good, but if it's in your GitHub. I think we have a question from Andres.
Andres, yes. I've just got a question around the PowerShell gallery. You probably noticed that there's some maintenance going on. Anyone has an idea how long that will take until they finished their maintenance?
I just saw it online. To be honest, I have no clue, because I wasn't in a situation to download any new versions right now, so it didn't bother me.
Sure, it's up since last Friday or something like that. So that's why I was wondering why it took that long.
I would assume that Steve Lee probably would be a good person to ping.
Sure.
On Twitter to ask. You probably did this already, but I think the last time we had this kind of issues, I think it was Steve who kind of started to respond.
Yeah, but then there was the issue that the numbers didn't update, and this time it looks like it's a planned maintenance.
Okay.
So I saw you have also some modules published to the PowerShell gallery, Christian.
Yeah.
So maybe some of them would be also candidates for publishing if they're.
Some of them already, to be honest.
Yes, I saw too.
So some of them are only GISTs right now, but yeah, I just like it said, I just want to wrap it up as a new repo just for So this is only for the session material, but yeah, as I said, there is really room for improvement there. So yeah, we'll basically do a new repo, and I don't know if I want to call it graph.proxy or something like that, because it's the basic idea that I have in my mind, to be honest. But I will upload this there, and also will ping Heiko about it so he could share this in the description of the YouTube video too.
Yeah, excellent, perfect. Yeah, so I think like Ryan said, was some really real life stuff that can.
Yeah, things that bugs me at work.
Very handy.
To be honest.
Because I mean, the best motivation to do something like this is if as you mentioned, it bothers you because it takes time and nerves, and then that's typically the great motivation to come up with solutions like that. This is basically really cool.
I know the best code I've ever written is because something was annoying me. It was taking too mumuch time, too repetitive. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And that's where you get creative with your PowerShell. You start finding a new way to do something. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. So are there any other questions for Christian? Either writing it or unmute yourself. Feel free.
And if you're shy, just head out to me via social media. I'm always happy to talk about my stuff.
Okay. Then I guess we're finishing with part 1. So thanks again, Christian. This was really, really, really cool. And so the idea for part 2, which probably is a shorter one, is really to have people talking about their experience with the last PSConf in Antwerp. I know that Christian was there, Ryan was there, I was there, Alexander was there. I guess a few other people that are in the session. Achim, for example, was there too. So I think it's a good idea, good chance to give people who haven't been there some impressions, what's going on here, why it's I would say one of the best events with the best community, I would say. So I don't know if anyone wants to start with the experience, or should I start? It's Ryan, Christian, anything you want to talk about, or is it like things that happen in Antwerp stay in Antwerp? I don't know, but
I can share things that happened a day in Antwerp this year.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about when the sun was still out. Yeah, but
I think we have some unique perspectives here. Heiko, you were there as a sponsor and attendee. Christian was there as a speaker, knocked it out of the ballpark. I was just there as an attendee, so I just got to watch you guys doing your things. But
Alexander's organizer.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have all of the different people in here, but all I can do is just really stress how awesome the community is. And that's what makes being there in person so special. You can watch all the content on YouTube afterwards, but that is just not the same. And I know some people say that the tickets are expensive, but if you think of all the work that goes into there, it's definitely worth it. And I've been fortunate enough that my employers also see the value of it and send me there. And it's something that it's easy to make the case for to your company. You're gonna come back more motivated. You're gonna have more contact in a community where you can always get information. I can only encourage people.
And I've also made really good friendships there as well. So not even you come for the sessions, to be honest, but you really stay for the people. Yeah. So one or two of my really closest friends I met 3 years ago. So it's a really heartwarming, welcoming community. So you go there for the first time. For me, speaking, I was there for the first time. I was a little bit not confused. I was a little bit shy, to be honest. But after the first session, heading out for a smoke break, you really make new connections immediately because people really want to get to know you as a person. So not if you are the big PowerShell brainer or something like that. They just chat with you. Basically, it could be about the weather, or it could be also what you're doing at work or something like that. Also, of course, something PowerShell related because it's all common topic there. But yeah, and my first PowerShell conference was back in Vienna. So I don't regret any second of convincing my company to pay for this ticket.
Yeah, so for me, it was the third conference. The first one was 2019 in Hanover. This is where we met the first time in person, I think. Then last year in Prague,
Yep.
and so this year in Antwerp. And I have to say, it's for me, it's of course, yeah, it's the content and the people and the energy. I think the energy that comes with the people for a whole week is really amazing. And I talked to people from the States that came over. They said, yes, this is really the most energetic PowerShell event they know about. And getting in touch with all these people. For me, the highlight was we started this little Inside IT Automation podcast at the beginning of the year, and I planned to talk to 3 people, like Steve Lee, for example, and Guy Leach, and it ended up with 7. So, and we are in the process of publishing that. So that was really cool. I was talking to Chrissy Lemaire and to Xavier, who's leading the Belgian PowerShell User Group, and it's just amazing to hear about their experience, why they're using PowerShell, how they're using PowerShell, what kind of success stories they had, but with the knowledge they got from scripting with PowerShell. So that's really amazing. And as we have Alexander as part of the organizing team, I think they really did an awesome job. For me, this was really the best from the 3 ones I attended, I have to say, from the organizational perspective. The city is great, the content was great. So for everyone who haven't been to a PSConf, and yes, it's not the least expensive conference, that's for sure, but having a complete week and getting to know and talk to people from the Microsoft PowerShell team. This is a unique experience and a unique possibility and opportunity, I think, to be able to talk to Steve Lee, to Stephen Buchner, and other people from the PowerShell team, to really, to kind of talking to the people who are at the heart of what happens with PowerShell. That's really awesome.
And also to mention the AMA sessions, so everyone of the PowerShell team who's there, you've got a full hour or something like that, just to ask really everything that bugs you or did want to know, and they're standing there and giving you direct feedback. Is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And what I also have to mention, because I have been to many conferences, is at first, we only are 200 to 300 people. But the thing is, like I said, it's more like a family member thing, and everything is welcoming. And there's one specific thing, are the mental health sessions. Because I never saw any kind of conference who did this in this way. The PowerShell Conference EU does this. And it's also the reason for my shirt today. Because we are all living in tough times sometimes. And just to see, okay, you're not alone. Even there are some great mind speakers and other people having some kind of issues and something like that. And really are open and talk about this and giving you some kind of tools or something like that just to help you, because it's not all about you have some kind of depression. Sometimes only you're annoyed by something or are stressed out by family and so on. it all happened to us. Yeah? And just being there and talking about it is also some kind of motivating and, like I said, giving you some new tools for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to mention in addition, that so if you are any one of you thinking about presenting like Christian did, they have a mentoring program, so they help you to prepare for a session, and it doesn't even have to be a full session. They had some great opportunities to have like short few minutes talk about something that you achieved with PowerShell and share it with the community. So that goes back to this being welcoming everyone on independent on your PowerShell knowledge level or whatever. That's really another awesome thing. And then now, of course, we talked about all the serious stuff, and of course, yes, there is fun involved as well. You know, after the sessions, you go for dinner, and you're strolling through the city and meeting all the people from the conference in different places. So that's of course also part of the whole experience, and I think it's also important. Because this is where you are in a very, again, relaxed atmosphere where you exchange ideas or creating new ideas. So yeah,
totally.
After a few beers.
Yeah,
not only
Coke.
a few.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just the whole package, I would say, is really awesome. And
yeah.
What I find amazing is regardless of what level people are in their career, everybody feels somewhat at the same equal level there. I mean, I have found myself years ago sitting at dinner next to Jeffrey Snover. And, you know, here I'm just some guy working in an IT company and I'm sitting next to the, you know, the father of PowerShell. I never expected that. And this year, I'm sitting at dinner directly across from Bruce Payet, sitting there having some Indian food, enjoying a beer. And these are amazing people that, you know, otherwise I probably would never come into contact with. So that is something that's beautiful about it. It goes to what Heiko and Christian have both said about the community there and the people you meet. You talk to these people and everybody's just down to earth and just super nice people.
And the thing is, when you think about doing some kind of sessions, like this year was my first year for true real sessions. Last year I did some kind of community session, 10 minutes. But the thing is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to come up with the latest and hottest things in PowerShell, because there are always people that are new to PowerShell. So, for example, I did a fundamental session about parallelization. Yeah. So I thought at first moment before submitting my proposal, I thought like everyone is aware of. And the session was really, really crowded, because I also like to go to sessions that are kind of fundamental. Even if I know this topic, there are always some twists and spins that I wasn't aware of, where I really could benefit from this, or also giving newcomers in PowerShell the opportunity to learn something from someone who did this quite often.
Absolutely. So for I just added two links to the chat. So one to the PSConf website and to the recordings. And if you want to experience it the online way, in October will be the online PSConf Minicon.
Exactly, on the 15th of October.
Which I guess is free for everyone, right? So to meet the people at least online, I think is maybe a great starting point. And if you want to watch the recordings from this year, but also from previous PSConfEU sessions and events, I put in the link here as well. And what I also find quite interesting, there was Harm Feenstra, who is a new. Oh, I didn't send it yet. Okay, stupid me. That's bad. Harm Feenstra, he did he made a a great blog post about his experience, and because it was, I think, also the first time he went to the PSConfEU, and it's a fun read, and it also, I think, he actually sat down every day and started on Sunday, I think, to write the blog post, so he could publish it immediately on Friday morning, I think, even Thursday afternoon, I don't know. So yeah, if you wanna hear from him, read about it. It's really gives also a great impression. And again, the minicon is a good idea, a good opportunity just to mingle online. There will be also some great sessions, and I'm sure if you're following the PSConfEU guys on LinkedIn or on Twitter, you will not miss anything that goes on with these guys, and to see, for example, where the next one will be in 2025, which was not announced. So we're still waiting for this information. So we'll see.
We still don't know.
Okay. Excellent.
But
Thanks
one thing is not granted: there will be good beer.
There will be good people and good beer, and you will learn something, whether you want to or not. You will learn something.
That's a given, absolutely.
My favorite memory from this year is directly for my session itself, because on my prioritization session there was a Q&A part about 15 minutes, and some of the attendees asked me a question. I know how to do this. Was starting and thought like, okay, choose this prioritization method. This was about how to pass external functions inside of the script log, for example. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. I choose for each object parallel for this task, and was standing there and saying, gosh, this don't have the methods to add this directly. I have to write it basically on my own right now. I knew exactly what to write, but was there, and my complete mind was vanished. And I just asked the audience, hey, is someone here who could help me right now? And someone from end of the room was trying to yell at me with the answer, and I didn't have a chance to catch any words from him. So I asked him, please come a little bit closer to me. And then I saw, okay, it was Jordan Barine.
From Australia, from all the way from down under.
Yeah, totally. I know him a long time from Discord. And I was like, okay, if you don't mind, just I can share my keyboard with you. And we did some kind of live pair programming. I just have to say, okay, this is my German keyboard. Where's exactly which key, what you aim for? And he was helping me out live on stage as a pair programming part of my session. It was really a fantastic memory for me.
Nice.
Awesome. Achim just put in the picture of you. In the
Thank you.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge was indeed the keyboard, the German keyboard. Where are the braces?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So anything else to add to our little PSConfEU looking back part of this session today?
I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. I'll throw it out there right now. Anybody here in our group that shows up at the next PowerShell conference for the first time, I will buy you a beer.
All right. Okay. It's recorded.
Only first timers. Dang.
Yeah, and second timers get 2 beers, and the third timer get no. That could be an interesting game, maybe. See what you started.
Yeah. Next year will be my 5th time, so I might actually get a headache the next day.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, thanks also Christian, Ryan, and also Alexander and Achim to share a little bit about what we experienced at the PSConfEU. And all I can say is be there next year, because there is no better PowerShell event, I would say. So yeah, and with this, of course, thanks for being with us. Yeah, and thanks again, Christian. This was really awesome, really, really awesome. And the recording of the session, hopefully, I think we will be available by next week. And if you follow me or Ryan or our user group on LinkedIn and Twitter, you won't miss it when it's online with all the links that Christian shared here as well.
Exactly. And then you'll also be aware of the next time we plan to meet up. So as soon as that is decided, we will make sure you all know.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice evening. Have a nice afternoon, wherever you are.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.